Okay, ladies and gents, boys and girls, happy Tuesday. Hope you're all doing well. Tuesday, September the 13th, 2022. Appreciate you all tuning in. I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Daily Crow, if I can spit it out, the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. We are here taking your questions, your comments, and your calls. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Those tuned into the podcast, welcome. Appreciate you all tuning in. I see Travis Allen, Connor Lee, DGD, John Edward, Todd Smith, Chase Floyd, DC. What's going on? Appreciate you all tuning in. Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord, head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel, be sure your questions are answered there. We're rocking busy Tuesday. Shane Beamer will speak to the media this afternoon. We've also got Alex Mcgrath at 12:15. We'll talk about everything that happened over the weekend as well as the upcoming game against the Georgia Bulldogs. It is to hell with Georgia week. It is Georgia week. Love it. Anyways, guys, want to hear from you. 843-790-3377. And I highly encourage you. Listen, I highly encourage you to call in. Anybody who wants to call in, I highly encourage it to happen, right? Anything you got to say, anything you want to discuss, anything you want to chat about, phone lines are open. You're more than welcome to do so. Dak Gamecock, what's up, man? Kevin Crossland, what's going on? Appreciate you all tuning in, like I said. Before we really get going, guys, of course, the Daily Crow brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Go download the Prize Picks app, go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use the promo code TSUS to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Guys, you're making money this football season on spreads, over-unders, future bets, what have you. Why not incorporate Prize Picks into your rotation? Why not incorporate Prize Picks and play some prop plays, right? Again, that's our friends at Prize Picks. Download the app, go to the website, whatever you want to do, but use that promo code TSUS at sign up to receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Again, be sure to check them out. And we appreciate our friends at Prize Picks for their love and support of the Spurs Up Show. Also, we'll jump into the phone lines real quick. Braddock, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Chris, man, just wanted to call and just ask, what's all that shade they were throwing your way, man? That's just BS. You're awesome, and appreciate what you do and the content that you bring, but it's just crazy how, you make one real analysis on, I mean, I thought it was fair, and then they're calling him spineless loser and all this. I mean, I think that's when you know that you've arrived and you're getting that much of a reaction out of them, man. And just wanted to call and just, show my support and keep doing what you're doing.
Braddock, I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much for the call. Means a lot. So to Braddock's point, there's really no point in dancing around it, right? And I'll just go ahead and say this because I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because I said what I said. And when you do what I do, you give thousands of takes, right? I mean, this is tale as old as time. Year after year, this happens. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, you'd have to literally, I think, be living under a rock. The carry on Joyner and just talking about this football team and the way guys fit on this football team and what their roles are. You know what? You give thousands of takes, guys, and I would say 98% of my takes or 98% of the takes we have, they land. They do well. People rock with them. People fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? Like people really, support it. They're behind it. You're going to have that 2%. You're going to have that 2% that doesn't land, doesn't hit, and for whatever reason, people take it personally. They see the worst in the take. It's just going to happen. With that being said, I'm not going to change up my way of doing things and limit myself and be timid and make mistakes of sloth versus mistakes of ambition. Shout out to Tim Ferriss for that quote. I'm not going to do that because being cautious and walking on eggshells to make sure you don't have those 2% of takes, it's going to take away from the 98%. I said this at the end of the show yesterday. I'll say it again. As the great Coach Boone once said, I don't scratch my head unless it itches. I don't dance unless I hear music. We will not be intimidated. So I don't have a whole lot to say on it, man. I appreciate the love, Braddock. I said what I said. I gave my take. We keep it rocking. We keep it moving. It's worked out pretty well to this point, in my honest opinion. On that note, by the way, very excited to celebrate with you all. As of today, as of this morning, we have surpassed our 2021 year-to-date sales numbers on the merchandise side of the business. Why is that a big deal? Well, guys, it's September the 13th, and we've already surpassed those merchandise sales numbers. Also, what you should keep in mind is when you look at the numbers last year, we did 70, I would say maybe 75%, probably 75% of our sales during football season. So we're in peak season right now, and we've already surpassed our sales numbers. And since you're tuned into the Daily Crow, you guys deserve to know the numbers, right? We're not talking $5,000, $6,000. We're about to hit $50,000 in sales. So that's a testament to you guys, the love and support on the merchandise side of the business. It's been incredible to push value out there on the merchandise side and to feel the love and the support. So just wanted to throw that out there. Things are going pretty well on our end. So again, you give a lot of takes, you talk ball. People want to ask me, why is Dakereon Joyner not playing? And I give you a legitimate answer. Nobody has refuted that what I said is wrong. That's the funniest part. So it's not one of those things where I'm not going back and forth with people. You might notice I've responded to no one. So I've responded to no one. That will continue, and we will keep rocking and just keep it a buck. And again, man, I've been the same exact way since 2017. This has happened before. I've had takes that did not land, guys. I was the Fire Muschamp guy for a while. I had the thing with the Jalen Brooks saga for a while. Now we're on to this. It is what it is, man. The beauty's in the banter. We keep it rocking. We keep it rolling. We keep it moving. The reason TSUS has been as successful as it has, and the reason it will continue to be as successful as it will be, is because we don't let one take define us. That's why I create so much content. It's one take out of thousands. I don't hit on 100%. Nobody does. Nobody does. I would still argue the take wasn't bad. I would still argue the take is legitimate. If that pisses you off, so be it. We're shaving the fat off the top of the people that can't handle the truth. It is what it is. So I stand 110% behind what I said. There's a reason I haven't issued an apology. There's a reason I haven't deleted a tweet. There's no need to. We're talking ball. It ain't personal. Wasn't a character shot. It is what it is. So beauty's in the banter. We'll keep it moving. And like I said, you look at the numbers and you tell me. I think it's worked out pretty well to this point. Would love to hear from you guys. Let's talk some ball. Again, we got Alex Mcgrath coming on 12:15. We're looking ahead to this weekend's game against Georgia. It's the hell with Georgia week. Anyways, yeah. I mean, again, that was something you noticed. I did not mention at all yesterday, and why? You know what I mean? Why? I can genuinely sit here and tell you I was, and still am, just shocked by the outcry on social media. I don't know if it's because we lost Saturday or what the hell's going on, but you want an honest answer about why a guy is not playing and why he's not a factor in our offense. I'm gonna tell you. It's not a knock on the kid. It's just a reality. We've talked all preseason about Dakereon Joyner, not a quarterback, not a receiver. He's just an athlete. And unfortunately, what people don't realize, if they see, that's the funny thing. You can tell who doesn't consume any of the content. You can tell, because if you listen to my commentary, I've told you, I feel bad for Dak Joyner. He's a victim of poor development from poor coaching staff and Will Muschamp that recruited him. I kind of low-key wish he would have transferred, because I would have loved to have seen him be a starting quarterback somewhere. It's not that I don't want him to be a Gamecock. Again, I'm going to leave it alone because there's just no point in going on and on. People expose themselves for what they are on social media. So it is what it is. Again, I got nothing but love for Dak Joyner, but don't ask me a question if you don't want the honest truth. We do that every single day. So it is what it is. Anyways, beauty's in the banter. We'll keep rocking. Again, I think it's gone pretty well to this point. Either way. Let's see. Tony Sharp with the super chat. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate the love, my guy. Appreciate the love, Tony. Thank you so much. Incredible stuff. Yeah, if you want to support the business, support the channel, support the content, and you're on YouTube, you can do so through super chat, super stickers, all that good stuff there. again, we're prepping up or gearing up for Shane Beamer's presser at 1:30. He will speak. Alex Mcgrath will join us at 12:15. Really excited to chat with him. Let's Garrett. Are all the guys in the 2023 O-line class starting next year? Well, there goes the Mustang Packers. You typically don't want to start freshman offensive linemen. You typically don't want to do that. I think you'll see a couple of them play, though. I mean, I think 2 or 3 guys probably will start. I mean, that's – listen, I went on with Mark Rogers this morning, and we were talking about this game. Went on a Georgia podcast last night. We were talking about this game. And, I mean, that's – dude, that's the issue with South Carolina, guys. I mean, that is. Like, I don't know why it bothers people so much. I don't know why people take it so personally. I don't know why people let their feelings get hurt so badly just to call a spade and talk about the football team. I like this football team. I think this football team can win
Justin.
7 or 8 games, but line of scrimmage is still an issue. Let's jump to the phone lines. Justin, what's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, I'm going to say, Chris, I sent you a text message yesterday.
What's up?
I sent you a text message yesterday.
Oh, did you? What did it say? My bad. I might have missed it.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, what do you think about Scarfa's getting fouled last Sunday? What are your thoughts on this?
Happy for Nebraska fans, man. It was a long time coming. And it's unfortunate because Frost thought it was a great hire, but it just obviously did not turn out that way.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. Look, I feel bad for the guy. Look, I hope he's going to tell about squad. We did, but at the end of the day, it was not coming in, you know?
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, you're losing all those one-score games. It's, you have no chance of surviving. So, just really glad we're not in that position. Obviously someone who has been on the side of things where, I've called for a coach's job. Really glad to not be there anymore. So.
Yep, I agree, Chris. And the thing about Nebraska, man, you just cannot take the offense, you know?
Yeah, no, dude, for sure. That was a crazy game on Saturday night. So had a lot of fun watching it, but just a wild game. So.
Yeah, Chris, if I got here, man, what do you thought about Jimbo Fisher, man?
Jimbo Fisher, I don't think he's a bad coach. I think it's just, I don't know, man. It's crazy what's going on at A&M. Losing to Appalachian State, wow. I mean, you talk about us feeling it. How are A&M fans and Nebraska fans feeling? So, I think Jimbo's a good coach. I don't think he's a bad coach, but they got issues too. They got issues too. So, we'll see if they can overcome it. Hopefully they don't, because I'd love to end that streak. But yeah, it's wild to see them lose that game to App State for sure.
Oh yeah, it's just fine go, man. We talked about Chevy needs to do like the Nick Series here coaches too, you know.
You talking about the what now?
Chevy needs to do something like this. Like he's playing a lot of former head coaches, you know.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Yeah, hey, listen, we're behind Shane Beamer 110%, man. No doubt. Beamer ball to the moon. It's year 2. It's early on in his tenure. Excited for what's to come. So.
Oh yeah, me too, Chris. Hey, Chris, who would like to see Shane Bay as a former head coach?
Who would I like to see Shane Beamer bring in?
Yeah, like a former head coach, like this about like the Kiffins, the Seahawks.
Dude, I have no idea, man. I like the staff we have now. Everybody's got pressure on them, but I like the staff we have now, my friend. I got no clue in regards to a wish list of head coaches.
Yeah, we have to wait and see how that plays out, huh, Chris?
Yeah, for sure. Justin, we got Alex Mcgrath on, my guy. I'm going to let you go, but I appreciate you calling in.
All right, take care, my brother.
Yeah, appreciate it. Go Cox, for sure. Again, appreciate the call, Justin. Again, as always, Tuesday, September the 13th, every single Tuesday, we bring my good friend Alex Mcgrath onto the show. Alex, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you this morning? Or I guess this afternoon.
Well. Yeah, this afternoon I'm doing well. Just getting after it. Of course, man, the beauties and the banter. It wouldn't be football season without Twitter hitting the fan. So things are going well. The brand numbers are through the moon. So, and we've already eclipsed 2021 year-to-date merchandise sales. Things are going well, my friend. Business is booming. How are you doing on this Tuesday?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Just watching the fallout from a hotter than expected CPI report, but that's neither here nor there for what we need to talk about.
For sure, for sure. Alex, we'll go ahead and dive into everything, man. The game against Arkansas, higher scoring than I expected, but I'll be honest with you, the game went sort of how I thought it would. In regards to we knew what the matchup problems were going to be. We know what the issues and deficiencies of this football team are, and we felt like most likely they were going to be exposed on Saturday. I'll just first ask you your overall takeaways from what you saw Saturday. Anything stand out, surprise you in any way? Was it what you expected? Just kind of a high-level overview, and then we'll dive into everything in detail.
Cool. I mean, honestly, to be gashed like we were gashed in the first half from a defensive line perspective and just like general run defense perspective, to have that be a 5-point game at the end of the third quarter, I think kind of speaks volumes to the fight that's in this team. I think we just ran out of gas at the end, and certainly those are all things you can improve on. So hopefully we see that next iteration and that next jump from this past Saturday to this Saturday, because certainly you've got an equal opponent coming in.
Dude, and it's crazy how the beginning of this schedule, Alex, plays out, right? Because I feel like you took on Georgia State, they run for 200. Arkansas was just more of what Georgia State was, a better version, right? Similar type of styles, run the football, smash mouth. They run for 295. Now you got Georgia. So, you look at how, and we talked about it all preseason, again, the way this schedule sets up and the challenges early on. Let's first start, Alex, offensively. Had a lot of fans that were complaining that maybe we abandoned the run too early and we should have stuck with the run game. But then you listen to Shane Beamer in the postgame, right? He talked about they were without Catalan. They were without Slusher. They were down guys in the secondary. The game plan was to attack, right, a battered and bruised secondary. Your just overall thoughts on the offensive game plan. And I think also, too, what you have to factor in, you go down 21-3, you kind of have to throw. I mean, you don't really have much of a choice. Your overall thoughts and just how, Marcus Satterfield attacked the game plan. I know we're going to get tired of talking about Marcus Satterfield, but until this offense is just a consistent, well-oiled machine, he's going to be a topic of conversation, and everybody's going to have something to say about him. Your overall thoughts on the way the Gamecocks offense attacked Arkansas's defense on Saturday?
I mean, to think that we abandoned the run, I think is a little short-sighted given kind of the way the game played out. To your point, where you are down 21-3, you got to figure out a way to get back into that. I think from an overall game plan perspective, I liked it. You come out of the gates, you drive down the field, you have a couple of miscues, you get a punt. Your second possession, drive down the field again, you got a couple of miscues, you got a punt. So, those are obviously things that you can clean up. But from an attacking standpoint, I thought we looked really good coming out of the gate initially. I mean, certainly you had some deep balls that you missed that, hopefully you can turn those into 50-50 balls a couple of weeks from now. That gives you a lot more success on that end. But I didn't have any issues with the game plan other than I don't know why we're not targeting Josh Van or why Jaheim Bell is not being targeted. Those are the two question marks I had coming out of it. It was like, why are we not involving two of our better players in this? And shout out to Antoine Wells for having a heck of a breakout performance.
Yeah, I think that's something definitely else. I want to give credit to the fact that every defense we play, right, they also know who our guys are. They know we want to get the football to Jaheim Bell. They know we want to get the football to a Josh Van, but especially like a Jaheim Bell. 4 carries for 5 yards. Granted, one of the carries was a touchdown, but 4 carries for 5 yards, no catches. That just can't happen. It's flat. It can't
just
happen.
Curious.
Right.
Like, how did that come about?
Yeah.
Like, that's the part I don't understand is, why, especially when you talk about taking shots down the field or you talk about throwing 50-50 balls to people, like, he is somebody that you should be throwing 3 of those to a game because he's going to make his best effort to go get it, and then that creates your explosive play. So it's odd to me that we just didn't do that. And I don't know if that was, it just wasn't there or that was by design, but it was odd.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, I'll ask you this. Anytime, win or lose, quarterback gets way too much of the credit, way too much of the blame. You look at Spencer Rattler's play on Saturday. What did you think of his performance? I thought, again, you throw for 376. Yes, he had the late game, kind of forced the ball into the end zone, trying to make a play. I think it's obvious he still doesn't, I hear people say, well, he doesn't trust his protection. It's like, well, no kidding. Like, no joke. But overall, your thoughts on his performance. I mean, again, I think, we're starting with the positives because I think that is the positive that you can take away is the way this offense played just in regards to just seeing them have some success. And again, it all starts with 7 under center.
I mean, I think he played a pretty good game. Like I hearing what Steven said last week where, he thought, there were several situations where Spencer just kind of got happy feet. Like hearing him say that and watching the game under that lens, I saw that several times where it was just like, you didn't have pressure on you immediately. And it was just kind of like, well, I'm going to scramble out here a little bit. So I think those are things that you can clean up. But, overall, I thought he played really well. And truthfully, the protection I thought was worlds different this week than it was against Georgia State. So I think those are two positives I take away, and certainly things that can be improved on week over week throughout the season.
Yeah, I thought pass pro Alex was a lot better. We do need to give credit to the offensive line. Pass pro certainly again improved. The running game still deficiency. I guess I'd ask you moving forward. What do you feel like? Do you think this offense's identity, because we're still searching for one, right? And I talked to Steven Garcia about this yesterday. Do you feel like this offense should just scrap the run game and go more towards a pass-heavy? Like what is – and I know maybe it's not a great game to make that determination from because, again, the matchup against Arkansas, I mean, they're going to push a lot of people around, man. They're a big physical football team. But is there anything you take away from the offense that you'd like to see them carry over into Georgia and more so throughout the rest of the season? I mean, do you think this should be an offense that relies on the pass game heavily? Because I would like to see this team have some success running the football, but I also feel, I mean, if it's not there, you're going to kind of have to do what you did on Saturday, which is become pass happy.
I think, just from what I kind of throw last year from an offensive identity standpoint, just kind of out the window because you had such a rotating quarterback situation throughout the year where it's, it's Zeb Nolan, and it's Luke Doty, and then it's Zeb again, and then it's Jason Brown. And so you didn't really have that identity under center that, it was, it's the same player who can do the same things. So given what we saw last year, given what we've seen this year, just in the struggle to run the football on a consistent basis, what I'd like to see from an identity from them, given the weapons you do have on the outside and given the player you have pulling the trigger, is just a more oriented pass offense to then open up the run. Instead of trying to run first to establish that, let's establish our game plan through the air that they can open up the run in the second half of it.
Now, Alex, you moved to the defensive side of the football. And really the story of this ball game, because a lot of folks after Saturday were talking for just whatever reason about the shortcomings of the offense and Satterfield and the game plan. But, dude, you give up 295 yards rushing. And listen, I understand it's a team game, right? The offense needs to help the defense by staying out on the field longer. They do. Nobody would deny that. But how long are we going to use the excuse of, well, it's the offense's fault that the defense isn't stopping the run? I mean, dude, at some point, right? At some point, you just have to face the reality that for whatever reason, we are struggling in that facet of the game. And again, Arkansas, bad matchup. Big physical offensive line. They've got a bigger offensive line than I would argue probably some NFL teams. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm sure they are comparable to some NFL teams. But you look at this football team, and I want to try to find bright spots, Alex, from the defense. Again, there will be much more favorable matchups. This defense, it's not like I think that Arkansas game is going to define them in any way. But it looks a lot like the same defense as last year. Where you look at the statistics, it's just through 2 games, but you're ranked near the bottom of college football in run defense, and your pass defense is ranked 15th. right?
Okay.
It feels damn near the exact same. I'm having deja vu. What you saw from the Gamecocks defensively, again, in just this one game sample size, we're not putting a nail in their coffin. We're not saying they're going to be terrible forever, but the matchup we feared, I guess I should say, going into Saturday, it exposed itself.
I mean, it did, but on the flip side of that coin, like, based on what we saw Saturday, like, Arkansas very well may win the SEC West. So that's not like a joke of an opponent. That's an extremely talented football team that does one thing really, really, really well, and that's be extremely physical on the front end with very good running backs. And so, I think we all know that from like our kind of our top line, we've got good players there, but it's building that depth that hasn't been there. And so when you get into a situation where you're just getting run on and run on and run on, that's where you got to have that depth that can come in behind you and continue to clean that up, or at least give you reprieve from that onslaught. And we just don't have that at this point, and there's not a quick fix for that.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of stunned that people are blaming the offense for the defensive struggles on this one.
It's happening more often than you would think, Alex. And like I said, I don't want to totally take credit away from the fact that, again, yes, if your offense is continuously just going 3 and out and they're getting gassed, the defense is, I totally understand that. But Arkansas jumped out to a 21-3 lead. And let me jump there, by the way, Alex. This team, I don't know why it has become such a trend, but man, and I want to give credit to this too. We've played some really good football teams on the road, right? You look over since the Shane Beamer era has begun, like the SEC games on the road, we're talking Georgia, we're talking A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas. Like, these are not slouches, right, that we are playing on the road. Either way, though, this team, you noticed it too, is getting off to such bad starts. Like, I mean, is there any solution? Is it just because, I mean, you think about it. Your next road game is in Lexington against Kentucky. You just can't afford to fall down 21-3 or 14-0, or you know what I mean? Like, you're really putting yourself in a tough spot when you're digging these holes. I mean, is there a solution? Is it just as, again, simple as just play better? I mean, again, I know you feel the frustration on your end. It's just so maddening to almost feel like you're out of the game before it even really gets going.
Yeah. I mean, I think the most glaring examples of that, or at least, Georgia was what it was last year. We knew what we were walking into there. A&M was unspeakably bad. We threw a defensive lineman halfback pass against Tennessee. That didn't end the way we wanted it to.
Didn't help.
No, it really didn't. So, those games from last year feel very different to me than this one did. Just insofar as to say, like the first 2 drives we had the ball, we moved the football pretty good. And then there were just miscues that you can clean up that, resulted in no points, where Arkansas just got the ball 3 straight times and basically possessed the ball all the way down the field, just running it. And so that's just, I don't know if there is an easy or quick fix solution to that, other than you're playing really good competition that's able to kind of do what they want to do from the ground game standpoint.
And I would say, Alex, the good news is this, after leaving that game on Saturday, and, I think I thought for the most part, the reaction to the loss was, no moral victories, but I don't think people were like jumping off a ledge necessarily. But those that were, because there were some, I think what you saw is people that went against what I said and don't put the entire stock of the season in this week 2 game, a game that, again, doesn't favor you with the matchups. But you look at that ball game, and then you look at the recruiting, and you look at how South Carolina's recruiting on the offensive and the defensive line. There's a reason, there's a reason. And, we face the issues head on, right? Some people shy away from it. It makes them uncomfortable. They don't want to face the issue. We face the issue. Line of scrimmage is the problem right now with this football team. Obviously, you can be upgraded across the board. Every single position on the field can get better. And that doesn't mean this team is doomed to last year you won 7 games with practically the same guys you had on the line of scrimmage last year. but reinforcements on the way. I think that is something that can make Gamecock fans feel good. And again, when you speak on recruiting, I mean, at least Shane Beamer's a coach that it's identifying what the problem area is or where the deficiency is, and he's going out and he's attacking it and recruiting. And that's just all you can ask for.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And, to your point, you can't throw the season like out the window because of this. Again, like everything that unfolded on Saturday, like Arkansas might legitimately win the Western side of this division.
At least challenge Bama, because it sure don't look like A&M's going to do it.
They are paying a lot of money for that coach to get dominated by Appalachian State. But like even looking on the eastern side of the division, like Georgia looks like world beaters, but like it didn't look like everybody else kind of came back to earth here. And I think there's a lot of parity in the league right now that maybe hasn't been there for a while. So I think those like opportunities to get 2, 7, 8, potentially 9 wins are sitting there. It just depends on how like much you can progress over these weeks and take that to the next level. And I think of anything that we've seen, we have the guys to make that happen. It's can you stay in those ball games and can you continue to get better week to week? Because I was listening to your pod yesterday, just kind of talking about offensive line progression from last year to this year, and it's just like are they the same players? Of course, but it's just that experience in the system and just getting more snaps under your belt and getting better. And I think week 1 to week 2, they looked a lot better in pass pro. So can you continue the growth in that trend? For the love of God, can we throw the ball to Jaheim Bell and Josh Van, like these weapons that we have that we're, for reasons beyond me, not utilizing? I mean, like we're not running the ball great, but Marshawn Lloyd looks really good.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
I agree. If he gets any sort of push, he looks healthy. Looks good to go.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you have these, and I think that's probably where most of the frustration is coming from. Is like like these are good players that we have that we're just like not featuring or giving opportunities to, and I think that's where a lot of that frustration is coming in.
Yeah.
In addition to the fact that like, is there an offensive identity? To this point, I would say no. If I was going to create one out of thin air, that's what I would create. Let's be pass first to open up the run, because I think that's what's going to give you the most success.
Yeah, and I think, Alex, that's what really frustrates Gamecock fans is it just feels like forever. I mean, it's been since it feels like the Steve Spurrier days. We have not had a true offensive identity. Like, what's the DNA of the football team? Like, what makes us tick? What is Carolina football, right? That is important. What is Carolina football? You think about the successful teams, the Georgias, the Alabamas, hell, the Kentuckys, the Floridas, the Tennessees. You feel like they have some sort of a DNA. And I feel like right now we struggle with it because we go into, and I know you have to adjust your game plan based on the opponent, all that good stuff, but we go into these games and these matchups on a week in, week out basis. And it's like, I don't really know what we want to do. You know what I mean? Like I'm not 100% sure on that. And that can cause some frustration. Now you mentioned, Alex, what's upcoming, the Georgia Bulldogs. Have you had a chance to watch Georgia at all this season by chance?
I watched a little bit of their game against Oregon. I didn't see anything against Samford. I kind of I'm going to throw the Oregon game out because like the pieces I saw, it didn't even look like Oregon was trying to tackle anybody. And like we all know what Bo Nix's record is against Georgia. So, I mean, that was a recipe for disaster to begin with. I mean, Samford, I don't know. I assume they weren't. I assume they went into that game just like get up and try not to get anybody hurt.
Yeah.
So
I'll give you a fun tidbit, Alex. In that game, I actually heard that they had a running clock in the fourth quarter. Kirby and the Samford head coach met into the third quarter, had a running clock, which I thought was like a peewee football thing. So, yeah.
Well, I assume as long as the check still cleared for Samford, they didn't care.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, for sure. Yes, they had a running clock. Alex, because I sit here and I'm like, we could sit here and try to talk, this key matchup and that key. I'll ask you this first, Stetson Bennett. How do you feel about his game? I feel like he's underrated. I think that I'm not saying he's the best quarterback in the SEC or anything, but I think he's you look, dude, if you thought Georgia was scary last year, we're talking about a guy now on Stetson Bennett And granted, take the opponent into consideration, whatever. I don't really care. First 2 games, he's thrown for 300 plus. Georgia might be better than they were last year, Alex. And there's a reason I picked him to go undefeated this season. Your thoughts on Bennett as the quarterback in Athens?
I mean, I think he's done an outstanding job, for sure. But like my big question with Georgia, and I think which more or less kind of worked into my season prediction for us was like, given what they lost on defense, that's going to just put more pressure on the offense to score points. And watching last year, Stetson didn't have to do. I mean, he played great. I'm not saying that, but he wasn't the key cog in making that engine run. And so if you kind of reverse that pressure on him, and now you are the key cog, like, how does he respond to that? He's obviously responded incredibly well through 2 weeks of the season. And so, I mean, that's full credit and praise to him on that. I'm just curious to see how that plays out over the next 9 weeks. So we'll see. But I mean, I think he's done a tremendous job thus far, and hopefully we can put up a little more fight than his previous 2 opponents have.
Alex, I have to ask, man, how you feeling about your SEC East prediction in the preseason?
I don't love it. I woefully undersold. I really thought the line was going to like at least be marginally better than it was. Missed on that one a little bit. That being said, like, a lot of the opponents that may have like caused concern later in the season, I don't really feel as concerned about. Right. Florida came back to earth pretty hard. Tennessee probably should have lost that football game if Keaton Slovis doesn't get hurt in the first half. I mean, Kentucky did beat Florida, but I mean, Kentucky didn't look like anything to write home about. Texas A&M got bullied by Appalachian State. Like, I think those opportunities are sitting there on the back end. I thought Georgia was going to regress more than they did, and that doesn't look as good of a call at this point. But hey, you know what?
Yeah,
we'll see what happens Saturday.
And to your point, you know what? Maybe Oregon's just that terrible, and then Samford. I know I asked you this a little bit earlier, but it sounds like, when I'm not envious of the position that Marcus Satterfield and Shane Beamer are in, watching film, trying to figure out how to attack this Georgia defense and just attack this Georgia football team, but especially, for the Gamecocks on the offensive side. It sounds like, and I would agree with you, use the pass to open up the run, spread out Georgia. I just don't see a scenario in which, listen, is the offensive line, is the offense a whole, are they going to get better as this season progresses? Well, I'd certainly hope so. But, Alex, I find it really hard to believe this is the week that you're going to line up and run it down somebody's throat, right? Like, I mean, this is not the opponent that is like, oh, well, now it's going to click running the ball, stopping the run. So I would imagine you're in the same camp as well. Spread Georgia out. You're going to have to throw the football, get creative in run game, but you're probably going to have to lean on the pass in this one.
I would say so, and I think it more speaks to just play to where your advantage is, right? And so, if your advantage is your pass catchers and spreading people out, if you can use real quick hitters to just move yourself down the field, and then use some motions, definitely like if Marcus is watching or listening, please get Jaheim Bell involved in the passing game, because that presents a matchup problem for most teams in the country. Use that stuff to your advantage. Use a 6'6" Stogner. Use a Jaheim Bell. Like, use those quick hitters to Antoine Wells and Josh Vann. Like, and even Jalen Brooks. Like, use that to your advantage, where you've got a quarterback that can execute those types of throws, and use that to your advantage to work your way down the field instead of trying to establish that ground game. I'm not saying don't attempt to do it, but don't just come out with that. Like, you got to have something scripted that's going to, like, keep Georgia off balance, where it keeps them out of bringing extra pressure, where you can just focus, that front line. Like, if you can keep that 5-on-5 or 4-on-5, like, that's where you're going to gain that advantage because of who you've got standing back in the pocket.
Yeah. And I do agree with you, Alex, that, you think about a game where the tight ends are such a big part of this game, right? You look at Georgia, Brock Bowers, Eric Gilbert, Leonard Washington.
They got some dudes.
They've got some dudes at tight end. We need to use ours. We got good ones too. Jaheim Bell, Stog, I think, like you said, should be a huge part of the game plan. And On the flip side, defensively, in my opinion, Alex, what's funny is I'm saying this for literally the third straight week and hasn't worked out very well, I guess. But I think you got to sell out to stop the run, man. I mean, if Georgia, like, here's the thing. Again, Georgia State ran for 200. Arkansas ran for 295. Like, if Georgia runs for 200 plus, you just don't have a chance. You just don't have a shot. That's the bottom line. I'd venture to say, Alex, you won't win a game this year where you allow the opponent to run for 200 or more yards, because you're not playing a service academy where they're going to run for 250 yards and pass for 0, right?
Right.
So if teams are having that type of success on the ground, again, it's just stating the obvious, but you're just not going to have a lot of success. If the Gamecocks are going to stay in this football game, not even win it, stay in this football game, we got to see an improvement. I don't know what the key to success is. I mean, you lose Jordan Strawn now and Mo Kaba. Things only get tougher for you on that side. Your thoughts on what the defensive game plan should be? I mean, again, it's sort of pick your poison with the Georgia offense, but I think you've got to commit to stopping the run first.
I would completely echo that sentiment, and where I would borderline sell out to stop the run on every play. Like, you've got Cam Smith playing, right?
According to Shane Beamer, his injury was not serious and he should be good to go. I would imagine he'll be good to go, yes.
Okay. So, like, if that's the strength of your defense, like, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I would leave those guys out on an island, and I would sell out to stop the run everywhere else. Like, if I was drawing it up, what I would do is I'd have my best cover corners on their outside in, like, press man and make them beat me over the top, where I'd have a safety or two safeties sitting back there, or just bringing that safety up to cover the tight end. That's what I would do if I was going to try to scheme something up, just to make them as one-dimensional as possible and see, like, if Stetson Bennett can beat you. I wouldn't let the ground game beat me. I would make Stetson Bennett beat me.
No, for sure. I mean, again, like I just said, I would do the exact same thing. Attack them in that way. Make Stetson earn it. I can live with that. I just can't live. It's demoralizing watching a football team run it down your throat. Finally, yes. Alex, before I get you out of here.
If our linebackers are 5 yards off the ball every single play, it's going to be a very long day.
That's tough. Yeah. Alex, before I get you out of here, man, again, the spread open, I know we keep up with the gambling side. The spread open, Georgia as a 26-point favorite. And even I was like, damn, like that just, it stung. It has since come down to 24.5, which is the same exact spread that it was in 2019 when the Gamecocks went into Athens and did the unthinkable. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'll ask you, hey, it's college football. Crazier things, I guess, have happened. Recipe to what would be a monumental upset on Saturday.
So if we can throw for 300 yards and sell out, stop the run, and keep them around the 150 mark, create 2 turnovers, I think that you can win. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be a similar recipe to success as you saw in 19. You need Stetson Bennett not have his best day, throw a couple picks, maybe you get a pick 6. I think Beamer ball needs to play a big part in this football game, man. I don't know, some fakes, a block punt, a block kick, like that has to happen. I think a defensive and or special teams touchdown has to happen to win this football game. Like, you have to lean on that. And I've said this before, Alex, for what it's worth, I think if Georgia, and this goes, by the way, for every football team out there, if Georgia plays their A game, it doesn't matter what South Carolina does. And again, that goes to everybody Georgia plays except for Alabama. I think that's the only team that can beat Georgia when they play their best game. Alabama's best game can beat Georgia's best game. I don't know that anybody else's best game beats Georgia's best game. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah. Certainly, again, you got your fingers crossed, you hope, but from your lips to God's ears, my friend.
Listen, like, App State did it. Marshall did it. Texas should have beaten Alabama. Like, these things can happen early in the season in those early kick games. So it's the same recipe that set up 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm not saying take the Cox money line. Plus 24.5 seems pretty good, though.
I don't know. I think I heard you say take Cox money line. I don't know.
No. I'm not giving out take the Cox money line.
By the way, if you want to take the Gamecocks money line, It's plus 1309. 100 to win $1,309. Cox money line. It's almost worth throwing 100 on it. I mean, honestly, because I wonder what the line was. I wonder what the money line was in 19.
I bet it was probably similar.
Yeah, I would have to imagine so. I'd have to imagine so. Alex, either way, man, we'll see what happens. Should be a lot of fun. Anytime the Gamecocks and Bulldogs get on the field, you just never know. It seems like the series, man, it's a lot of unpredictable things do take place. And I think a lot of good either way, though. And I'll leave you with this. I think a lot of good either way. You know, even if you don't beat the Dogs, I think it's a huge recruiting weekend. You make this a fourth quarter game. I think we can all live with, hey, tip your cap. Georgia's just really freaking good and they beat you. But as we all agreed in the preseason, it's about how you win and lose. And so taking the Dogs down to the wire, maybe it's a one-score game starting the fourth quarter. No moral victories, but that would show progress, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, and that's all you're really looking for. I mean, is if you can put yourself in it. I mean, look, at the end of the third quarter this past weekend, we were in a position to win. Like, all you can ask is to put yourself in that position and see what happens. And if we can do that, I think that's a success.
Absolutely. He's Alex Mcgrath. Alex, I appreciate it as always, man. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and we'll definitely do it again this same time next week.
Sounds good, my friend.
Yeah, man. Take care. Good stuff. Alex Mcgrath, guys. I know Alex was having a little bit of issues with his sound. I apologize, man. We keep it rocking. We keep it rolling. Hey, we're going to jump into our first break on the day, but I want to continue to hear from you more, your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. We appreciate our good friend Alex Mcgrath joining the show as he does each and every single Tuesday. Guys, I do apologize. I was hearing Alex's audio stuff as well. I don't know what was going on. He's got a pet pig under the desk. I don't know exactly what it is. DGD, what's up, man? Was actually able to go on last night and go on a podcast, Nothing Finer Podcast, which is a Georgia show. Talk to them about the upcoming game this weekend. Podcast for us will drop tomorrow. I will give you guys my best bet going into the weekend. I don't know which way I'm leaning yet. I'll be honest with you, because you look at the spread right now, it's 24.5, over under set at 52, which I think are both really, really good numbers. So, we'll see. I think a lot of folks are hammering that under, which feels like a sucker bet, to be honest with you. But, either way. Again, guys, thank y'all so much for the love and support of the merchandise side of the business. In case you missed it, we actually surpassed our 2021 year-to-date merchandise sales today. Surpassed that, which is a big deal because we did about 75% of our sales last year during football season. So pretty big deal. And it's a blessing, man, to be able to, the merchandise side of the business is one of my favorites, to be able to produce value and push out value through merchandise. It's a blast, man. It's truly a blast to be able to partner up with USC athletes and put money back in their pocket as well through merch. NIL allows us to do that. It's a blessing, and then put that money back into the business. It's awesome. It's awesome. But again, the value that we're able to create for Carolina fans, giving you guys a merchandise alternate, if you will, it's incredible. So again, we'd love to hear your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. Let's see. We do have a question here in the TDC Questions channel. Ryan Crisp says, do you think even after the loss to Arkansas and the bad odds of a W against Georgia, we'll get a good to impress prospects? Yes.
Please, Hall of Famer.
I think Gamecock fans show up and show out. Robbie, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing well, my friend. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
I just wanted to say that I completely agree with Alex, okay? We're going to have to make Stetson Bennett beat us. Because if Georgia runs the football and they run it consistently, ain't no bones about it. They'll beat our butt quicker than you can say, holy crap. So if it was me, I would line up man to man on the receivers and force. I don't know how good Stetson Bennett is at running, but force him to get uncomfortable in the pocket. And he's still a human being. Yes, he's a national champion, but if you force him to do something that he ain't comfortable with, which is probably pass more than he's used to, and like you said, get a couple of turnovers, block a punt or two, or steal a possession and capitalize off of it and make this a fourth quarter game, I think we can somehow make it close. But I just don't think we have the horses on the offensive side of the ball right now to keep up with Georgia if they try to turn this into a track meet.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, in this football game, people get so tired of hearing it, but it's just true. Stopping the run. I mean, and unfortunately, going into this football game, there's nothing that tells you that's going to be the case. Listen, Georgia's going to run the football successfully Saturday. That's yes, I will. If I'm wrong, I will happily eat crow on the Daily Crow. Right? I'll happily do so. But Georgia State ran for 200. Arkansas ran for 295. I don't know what
Yep.
spin zone of a world you have to live in to think that we are just going to line up. Now, if Georgia, what you have to bank on, look at 2019. That's your recipe for success to even keep the game close. Because you know what's crazy about that game? Georgia played terribly. I mean, Jake Fromm, for whatever reason, throws 3 interceptions, right? Izzy McQuamu has a field day. One of them's a pick 6, right? They missed field goals. Georgia played poor football, and we had to go to overtime to beat them.
Yeah.
You know, so but you need Georgia to help you. You need Georgia to play you need Georgia to play their C- game, and you need to play your A+ game
And
to even have a chance.
Right.
That's just the reality of it.
I would even say A++. Okay, like A++. You got to play plumb near freaking fantastic in order for you to
and listen, crazy things have happened. But no, listen, to your point,
Right.
I mean, yeah, it all starts with setting some sort of tone up front. I don't know what they do. I don't know how they attack Georgia. You got to slow down the run game. It's so much easier said than done, but you have to slow down the run game.
Right. Exactly. And I think that we are going to, and like you said before Alex got on here, we got to do what Appalachian State did to Texas A&M, okay? Hang on to the ball whenever we're on offense. Okay? That's why App State went into Texas A&M and beat Georgia, because the time of possession was absolutely ridiculously lopsided, okay? But obviously we're going to probably have to throw a crap ton in order for us to have a chance, okay? Because we can't run block to save our dang lives.
We cannot run the ball, stop the run. I mean, and it's just, here's the problem. Here's what you're seeing, Robbie. We knew coming into this season that the O-line and the D-line line of scrimmage, it was a concern. That is a fact. We knew that. Even the most optimistic Gamecock fan knew that was an area of concern. And I think what so many were trying to make the point of in the preseason about this schedule is this. When you get into SEC play, there is nowhere to hide. Your deficiencies will be exposed. That's what you're seeing right now. And that's what you'll see more of on Saturday. Because Georgia and Arkansas, both elite up front on both sides, and you're not. That doesn't mean you still can't go win 7 games this year. That doesn't mean you can't go win a bowl game. That doesn't mean you can't have a successful year 2, because it is year 2, man. It's still so early in Shane Beamer's tenure. But there's just nowhere to hide in SEC play. If you've got a problem area, it doesn't have to be line of scrimmage. It could be quarterback play. Quarterback play is a great example. You will get exposed. At some point, you will get exposed. You can't hide from it. So, that's what you saw on Saturday. And there were positives to take away from Arkansas for sure. No moral victories, but that's kind of what you're seeing, right? Is those issues become glaring because of the competition you are playing.
And the longer this season goes on, the more difficult the opponent's going to be. We're playing Georgia, right? We got A&M, Florida. I think honestly, from what I saw against Kentucky, I think Florida is beatable. But the question is, are we going to be cooking on all cylinders by the time we get to Florida? And if we're already almost a full 3 weeks in, and our offense looks like we couldn't even run on a high school team, for God's sake, or do anything against a high school team. We can't really pass the ball. Rattler was moving out of the pocket early again. because Arkansas knew that pass blocking was a deficiency, and they were bringing their linebackers and safeties like it was a freaking block party up in Arkansas.
Yeah, and I want to make this point too, Robbie, because listen, I'm becoming a bit of a veteran in the game. I understand how things work. I understand that social media, the madness, the chaos, people are literally so on edge that, listen, my words move mountains. I say one thing, and if it's not phrased exactly right how people want to hear it, well, all hell breaks loose. And that is a blessing, because that means what we say, it matters. But you know what's funny is that you would think,
if you're not pissing somebody off, you ain't doing your job right.
Robbie, let me finish. You would think after Arkansas, I had picked this team to go 0 for the rest of the year. We're just terrible. Let's throw in the towel. I still think this is a team that can win 7 games. God forbid, maybe 8. Like, the season's not over. This first 3-game stretch doesn't define us. There will be better matchups that come along. But right now, in the meantime, we got to do the absolute best we can. That's just the bottom line, right? Georgia's better than us. That's not a hot take. They're a 24.5-point favorite. Georgia is the number 1 team in the country. They're better than us. I look at Kentucky. I think we could still win that game. I look at Florida. We think we can still win that game. Vandy, Mizzou picked us to win. Tennessee will be tough, but it's home. And at that point in the season, who knows where you're at? Season's not lost, man. We're 1-1. We're fine. But this weekend certainly will be a challenge, no doubt. But it's just funny because some of the social media banter, you would really think that I think all of our players are terrible and this roster's terrible and Beamer's terrible. And I got people telling me that I want a certain coach fired, and people are just making shit up as we go along. You know what I mean? But you know what? It is what it is. I'm built for it. I've done this year after year after year.
Right.
I was the Fire Muschamp guy. Now I'm the Beamer ball guy. But the bottom line, at the end of the day, is we're always here. And Gamecocks football will be here. We'll be fine. We're going to start 1-2. It's okay. I picked us to start 1-2. Let's see if we can just at least pull some positives out of this game on Saturday.
And honestly, listen, if you ain't got haters, you're not doing your job right anyway. Right? Because if they think all you're doing is if they think you should be pumping sunshine and rainbows up their keister all week long, that's not how it works. And like I have told you several times, and I'll tell you again, that's one reason I love your show, is that you freaking don't beat around the bush, you don't sugarcoat it, and you tell it like it is. You there?
Yeah, I'm here, Robbie. I'm just letting you go. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the.
That's one of the reasons.
Listen, I appreciate the feedback, and I don't do what I do to create enemies, but like I said before, I will not scratch my head unless it itches. I will not dance unless I hear music, and I will not be intimidated. And I'm gonna say what I say, and I'm gonna keep it moving. And a lot of my takes, I'd say 98% of them are gonna hit. 2% won't. I'll take those odds. I will take those numbers, and we'll keep it moving, because again, folks will only highlight the negative. They will not highlight the overwhelmingly positive. I know this by now, man. Again, I'm a veteran in the game. It's all good. I'm built to take this.
Right.
I'm built to take it, man.
Real quick before I get out of here, happy birthday to my youngest brother, who's a Clemson fan. Okay, he's a Clemson fan, but today's his birthday, so happy birthday to him. Okay, and like I said yesterday, we got to muck the game up Saturday afternoon. We got to somehow force Georgia to play our style of football, and if we can do that for 4 quarters, we will be in it. But like you've said before, and like I'll say now, it's easier said than done. But you got to go out there and do it and prove it.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, listen, give Georgia hell for 4 quarters. You're most likely not going to win,
exactly.
But to hell with it, man. Make them earn it. Again, it's about how you win and lose. Yeah. Right. How you win and lose. You win and lose. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
Yep.
All right, man. I'm going to get off of here. I will most likely, at the earliest, give you my prediction tomorrow. At the latest, Thursday. I'm still thinking on it.
I love it.
All right, buddy. You have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.
Robbie, you as well, man. I appreciate that. Look forward to hearing from you soon.
Yep.
Take care. Guys, we're not going to take another break. We're going to continue on. Shane Beamer going to speak at 1:30. I'll go until then. We got a text here. What's your Muschamp Hackers? What's your take on Beamer's post-game presser response to the question about both Sanders and how they played? Okay. And I posted this video actually this morning. Pittman was asked at 14:55 about Spencer Rattler's post-game presser, and he took the question, states he wasn't Beamer, but that he thought he would do well in the SEC, and moved on to the next question. Beamer seemed frustrated by his question and provided a gesture at the reporter. I noticed him doing this during losses after post-game pressures last year and chalked it up to year one as a head coach with a ton of pressure to succeed. But this year, I think he needs to improve this in the post-game pressers, as those are part of his job and role as the head coach as well. Thanks, Tyler, with the question. Boy, Tyler, now you're trying to piss people off. So you asked the question about Shane Beamer and his reaction to the question. And the clip was funny. That's why I posted it, because, listen, we're all behind Beamer. We're all behind Beamer. Wow, we some very strange comments coming through. Anyways, we're all behind Beamer. But the question Tyler has, his response to that question. And let me say this. Obviously, again, I'm behind Beamer 110% because I wouldn't put his name on merchandise if I didn't feel that way as well. Shane Beamer's going to evolve and grow and get better as a coach. And he will learn. Shane Beamer will learn because everything is documented, right? I didn't go out of my way to post the video of Shane Beamer. SEC podcast already did it. It had 80,000 views. I did nothing, right? But Shane Beamer will learn. He will grow. He will evolve. He will mature as a head coach. He will get better, right? Everything he does will get better. Everything he does will evolve, right? He will evaluate himself and say, you know what? And I understand you're in the heat of battle, man. You're in the heat of battle, and there's just some questions. I know they're stupid. I know they're tough to answer. You got to keep the composure, right? You got to keep the composure. So he'll learn from it, and again, I'm not going at Shane Beamer at all. I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And Cody Gaskins asked in the TDC Question channel, Cody, I posted the clip, go back and watch it. He was just asked about Rocket Sanders and Drew Sanders, all the Sanders that played. And, Shane Beamer pointed out, I wasn't evaluating their linebacker play during the game. Again, I think coach was frustrated, man. It's you lose the way they did. It was a tough ball game. I mean, he hates to lose. We hate to lose. You're immediately after you get off the field of battle. But you got to be able to go in there and put it on a stone cold face and
Call
keep it moving.
from
Hunter.
Here we go. Hunter, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, no, not too bad. Not too much. But yeah, so I actually got something for you. So for the Arkansas game, I know I've seen a few penalties that I guess they missed or something like that. I've seen where the one guy, he landed out of 4th and 1, but he gave him the first down. And I don't know if you've seen that, but his hand was right there before the, obviously the first down marker. And they missed another face mask, and that was just all bullshit. And, Spencer actually had an open field. He should have ran, or actually, no, there was this one guy that he was wide open. He was just waiting for him to throw it. And he just ran for it. It was just stupid. So I want to get your opinions on it.
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of spaced out there. Rephrase that again, my guy, on the game.
Sorry about it.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. So, all right. So the opponent was running for the first down,
right.
And then he actually got inches away from the first down. So basically, the ref, it was supposed to be 4th and 1, but the ref actually gave him a first down, and it was you can plainly see it. You can look back on the video, and they missed the face mask penalty. And I don't know why they didn't call for that.
Right.
And Spencer was running for the first down when there was a guy wide open where he could have just threw the ball to him. I'm like, what is he doing? So I just want to get your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the referees are going to miss some calls. It's unfortunate, but they are. They're not perfect. SEC refs, sometimes you got to win in spite of them. And, to Spencer Rattler, I thought he played a fine game.
Yeah,
for
sure.
He missed some for sure. I mean, the deep passes, right? He missed the deep shots early, and those could have changed the ball game.
Yep.
And when you're going on the road in the SEC and you're an underdog, and the matchup doesn't favor you, and when you get those opportunities, you just have to take advantage of them, because number one, you're not going to get many of them, and number two, Arkansas is going to take advantage of theirs, right? So you got to be able to hit those, and certainly I think that's probably something that's been a point of emphasis for him, and something I'm sure they're locked in on, in practice this week. The same will be said when you play Georgia. You know what I mean? There might be a chance there. There might be a shot early on. You have to hit it. You have to hit it.
Yeah, especially with Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to get many of those chances, many of those opportunities. So you got to hit those, and we'll see if they can.
Man, you have no idea. I was me and my sister's husband were watching the game at his house, and man, he was talking so much shit on it, and then on the Carolinas, like, oh, Spencer's trash and all this other crap. Oh my God, you have no idea. I can't wait to beat Tennessee this year, because he's a Tennessee fan and a Clemson fan. So.
Yeah, no, dude, I think anybody who's coming down on Spencer Rattler is just clueless. I think they're clueless. So, listen, I'm not saying he's playing perfectly. I was asked about this last night. Do you feel like Spencer Rattler has met the preseason hype that was appointed to him? I guess it depends on what your level of hype was. I don't think he's played poor football. I don't think he's played great.
See, my level of hype about Spencer, I thought he was going to be another Bryce Young. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought he was.
Well, my friend, Bryce Young has got 5 stars all around him.
Right.
That's the thing. You know what I mean? That's to and hey, again, you put it all on 7. I think for what he's got around him, he has not played poor football. I'm excited to see, because again, these type of games are huge for Rattler on a personal level. He's trying to get drafted. These games are huge for him, right? They're huge. So I'm excited to see how he plays on Saturday. I don't think he's played at a Heisman level, but he doesn't have Heisman level players around him either. So, and I'm not trying to blame the guys or put them down. I know the quarterback's going to get too much of the credit, too much of the blame. I right now have no issue with how he's played. I have no issue, but because the problem was this: Saturday, the defense was so bad, he had to be perfect. He had to be perfect. And so when you're not perfect and you have to be, well, of course you're going to get nitpicked. But the guy threw for 376 yards.
That's just the one thing. They need to stop the run. I mean, that's number one main course that they need to practice on, is stopping the run. And it seems like same old, like you said on one of your videos. I mean, same crap.
And I don't blame Gamecock fans for being frustrated over the fact that we can't stop the run, because you do feel like we've got good players up there. So what is it? I mean, I know linebacker's still not where it needs to be, but man, it just, I mean, I really thought we would take a step forward and run everything, and we still might, right, when the matchups become a little bit more favorable.
Right.
Damn, dude, it has been tough to watch through the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, you have no idea, especially the second quarter when the 21-3. I'd turn off the TV until my sister's husband invited me over, and I was just like, screw it, why not? And then like a couple scores going up, and I was like, shit, we might have a chance. And they're just clowning us on the run game. Like, they knew that we sucked at stopping the run. So
yeah, dude, for sure.
Yeah, they were just clowning us.
Yeah. Yes, they were, my friend. Yes, they were. And now we have an even bigger challenge against Georgia.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate it. I'll let you go. That's all I needed to say.
Hey, Hunter, I appreciate the call, my friend. Always a pleasure chatting with you. I see in the comments, where is it? Let's see. Where did this comment go? Where did it go? Lady Bree, what's your number, Lady Bree? I made a mistake. I thought Lady Bree was calling in to troll one day, and Lady Bree, I think, just wanted to talk. So Lady Bree, what's your I guess you probably don't want to give publicly, but I'd love to unblock it if possible. There we go. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Chris, how's it going, man?
I'm doing pretty well. Appreciate you asking. What's up?
Awesome. Oh, no, man, I'm just at work cruising through Gatlinburg, Tennessee at the moment. I've been listening to your show and everything. I called in a couple weeks ago, but I do have this comment, more of a comment than a question, really, because I wanted to get your take on it. I actually just got off the phone with my father. We were talking about it earlier, but And I know we're looking ahead to Georgia and everything, and I'm not trying to look back on the last 2 weeks, but I do want to say this, right? It doesn't make sense to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, okay? Why is Marcus Satterfield? And the thing is, last year, I'm going to say this. I was giving him the benefit of the doubt last year, and I still am. I know it's early. Mm-hmm. But it seems like, especially against Georgia State, right? Arkansas, they kept showing 4 down linemen, 5 in the box, sometimes 6. And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we didn't have much success running against Georgia because for some reason, Georgia State, for some reason, he keeps running the ball when there's 6 to 7 people in the box.
Right.
And it doesn't make any sense to me. And against Arkansas, they kept showing 4 down linemen, 1 linebacker, 5 in the box, and Juju right there in the backfield. And I'm sitting here thinking, give the ball to Juju, and then it's sitting on a 1st and 10, trying to pick up 5-6 yards, and he'll just, he just throws the ball. Which I get attacking their secondary because I know they have some weak links back there and everything, but it just doesn't make any sense to me. Can you make sense of it for me?
Yeah, I mean, we did abandon the run early. Listen, when you're not scoring enough to win, the OC is going to get a lot of the blame, of course, because he's the guy that's behind the controls, if you will. So I'd definitely like to see more of Juju and Marshawn used. I'd like to see more of a run game established. I think I saw some stat, and I don't remember exactly what it said, but early on in the game, especially, we got into a couple of, down in 5s or so, down in manageables, and we're throwing the football. And it's just like, I know you want to attack the secondary and attacking the passing game, but, there's got to be a balance for sure. So, I mean, listen, Shane Beamer made the point in the post game. They wanted to attack in the passing game. That's what they did. Obviously, but 13 total carries for running backs. You know what I mean? That's tough. That's tough. That's kind of tough to live with.
Crazy.
So, I definitely think guys like Juju McDowell need to get the football more. I think Marshawn needs to continue to touch it. I mean, I like what I'm seeing from Marshawn. I think he's healthy. But
absolutely, I felt so bad when he fumbled that ball, man. It's like, damn, like we were right there to make we were in it, like you said earlier, we were in it right there in the third, for Marshawn fumbling that ball. And a lot of people, you can't give him too much because he scored on the ground on a counter play, and he caught a screen pass for a huge gain. So I felt horrible for him. You could just see it, as soon as that ball popped out and he knew he couldn't get it, you could just see it.
Dude, listen, kid trying to make a play and. It doesn't happen, and you hate it. You hate it for him, but it's just part of the game, man. Trying to make a play, and you got to protect the football, and he knows that, obviously. But tough.
Oh yeah, no. I don't blame him at all. I mean, it happens, man. It's football, but no, I just wanted to ask that, and it just didn't make any sense to me. But and missing Jordan Strachan and on that edge. I mean, Jordan Burton, he had a good game, last week. It was much better than.
Yeah.
He's been lately, and I really feel like he can step up and, be that playmaker on the D-line for the rest of the year. And, I don't know. I'm really interested to see how they turn those guys, around and, next man up kind of thing. But, I still got faith in our defense, and, I'm not expecting obviously, I hope we win, just like any Gamecock fan. I hope and pray we win, but I'm not expecting to win, but hey, I'm expecting, I hope these guys will go in there and fight their tails off. And who knows? They might take it down to the fourth. You never know.
Yeah. Give them hell for 4 quarters, man. That's all we're asking. Listen, if Georgia lines up and beats you, that's fine. They're going to do that to a lot of people this year. Give them hell for 4 quarters, let the chips fall where they may. And, let's try to see if we can't have some positives to pull from this ball game.
Exactly, man. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, thank you for answering my call, and have a good day, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, man. Take care. Great stuff there. 843-790-3337. Some of the guys, I'll say this. I welcome all you guys to call in. 843-790-3377. Here on this Tuesday, September the 13th, 2022. Again, we are awaiting Shane Beamer's presser, which is upcoming at 1:30. Shane Beamer will speak to the media at 1:30. So looking forward to what he has to say, hearing what he has to say ahead of this weekend's game against the Dogs. So should be a lot of fun there. Let's see. Going through your questions. Greg Bedinger, appreciate the love in the Big Cock Club Discord, my friend. Appreciate the love. Coach Ford, we get no practice stopping the run because we can't run the ball ourselves. Toby says 2019 repeat, baby. To hell with Georgia. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. And, guys, listen, I know it's frustrating. It's frustrating early. It's so early in the season, though. Again, I get being frustrated, but what's so weird is what's so weird, I'm seeing the frustration on social media. Like, you would really think we're going to go 2-10 this year. Like, I'm fine. Sitting here on this Tuesday, what happened against Arkansas is basically what I predicted. It's what I thought would happen. Arkansas, much more physical football team. I don't think it's an indictment on your season. You can tell a lot of people went into it that way, though. You can tell a lot of people put all their stock in that Arkansas game. But I'm here to tell you the season's not over. This football team, again, in my opinion, can still win 7 or 8 games. It's there. It's there. But we knew in this first 3-game set, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And we knew they would get exposed. Now, to the degree they've been exposed, I think that's what concerns us. But we will have much more favorable matchups down the road, in my opinion. So I'm still, I'm still high on this football team. I'm still high on Shane Beamer that we can hit that 7-win mark. God forbid, maybe 8, whether it's with a bowl win or without. And if you do that, that's a successful year. So the season's not over. The sky's not falling. I don't just think we're terrible and the whole football team, all the players suck. No, we got some good players. We got some damn good coaches, and I think we still got a quality football team. And we've had a tough start to the year with the schedule. I mean, it just, when you get to SEC play, like I mentioned earlier, your deficiencies are going to get exposed, man. Like this schedule did not set up to get off to a hot start when you're taking on teams like Arkansas on the road and the number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs, the defending national champions. But it's a long way to go, and I think it'll get better. I really do. I really, really do. Now, again, I'm not here to pump sunshine up your ass, as you all know, right? We got real problems and issues and deficiencies we got to fix. I'm just saying that I think we will have more favorable matchups to come. That's all I'm saying. There will be more favorable matchups, right, where it will not be such a challenge for us. So, it's looking like we're probably going to start 3-2, which the season will sort of hit, like I told you guys in the preseason, the greatest inflection point. I stand by that. I stand by that. So Bleak Mode says, when will winning 7 games be unacceptable? Well, Bleak Mode, I mean, y'all ask questions. Y'all ask questions I don't think you want the answer to. I genuinely don't think you want the answer to the question. Year 2 of Shane Beamer. 7-5 in year 2 is fine. It's fine. It's not accepting mediocrity. It's understanding where the program is, what Shane Beamer was left with, seeing what's going on the recruiting trail, and understanding this is a process that happens over time. It's going to take a few years. It's going to take a few years. But they're building. Reinforcements are on the way. Look at the recruiting class. Look at the class they are recruiting on the line of scrimmage. I hope we get to a point where winning 7 is not good enough. But Shane Beamer took over a program that had won 6 total games in 2 seasons. 7-5 was a great year. 6-6 last year was a great year. Yes, Coach Ford, help is on the way. Look at the recruiting class. What are you talking about? Yes, help is on the way. Look at the recruiting. Would you disagree? Do you think the recruiting class is no good, Coach Ford? Because that's the only argument you could have. I don't know how you could disagree that reinforcements are on the way. I think they are. I am very curious to see what this football team looks like with the guys Shane Beamer has recruited on the line of scrimmage. I'm curious to see what that looks like. Anyway, Shane Beamer upcoming in a couple minutes. Guys, again, I don't reflect some of the misery that I've seen this week on social media from people. Like I think we're still kind of on pace to have the season I thought we were going to have, whether it be 7-5, whether it be 8-4. I think we're still on pace for that. What happened Saturday against Arkansas was not shocking. Like, I don't know why anyone would be shocked by what happened. So, let's jump to the phone lines real quick. Hunter, what's up, man? You got 2 minutes.
Hey, yeah. I was actually going to say one more thing. I just want that I got left out. Yeah. So at the end of the third and fourth quarter, the guys actually never quit. Like, they never gave up too. So I mean, that's one positive thing about the team. So.
Indeed, yeah. They did fight till the end. They did fight till the end.
Yep. They never gave up. So that's the one good thing about them.
Yeah, no, hey, for sure.
So that's all.
Speaks to the character of the football team, indeed. Hunter, I appreciate
it. Yep, no problem.
We did not quit. I mean, that's a fact. That's a fact. Guys, I'm going to go out and say this as well. I think it's okay for us to have a bare minimum expectation of you play hard through the end of the game, no matter what the final result is. You know, I understand fans want to find positives, and I get it, right? Like, I appreciate the players' efforts. Oh, Beamer's live. My bad. Whoops. Okay, let's jump to this real quick. He went live early. I'll be darned. He went live early. My bad, guys. Here we go. All right, I'm going to get off here. We're going to share Beamer.
Jordan Strawn, and the end of their seasons, two guys that have really worked hard and we're having fantastic starts to this season. Jordan was a captain for us game 1. Mo was a captain for us game 2. So we got to replace their leadership. Both those guys were fantastic special teams players as well. Mo was dynamic on kickoff coverage, dynamic on the punt team. Same thing with Jordan on the punt team. So that's a big loss from a special team standpoint as well. But really just, hate it for those two kids. And obviously they're really, really down. But we're here for them and going to continue to lift them up and help them, along with Chad Terrell, who went through the same thing a few weeks ago. Also, they're still a key part of this team. And like I said in that statement, they are their best football is still in front of them, without a doubt. More injuries on top of them. Just an update. Real simple. I think David Spalding, Cam Smith, Corey Rucker, R.J. Roderick, and Boogie Huntley are all questionable this week. So can't say for sure that they're all going to play, and can't say for sure that they're not as we sit here today. So we'll see how practice goes the rest of the week, and hopefully we'll have those guys on Saturday. But if not, we've our depth isn't where it needs to be for sure. But we got really good players on this football team, and we're going to take a bunch of really good guys out there on Saturday to play against a really, really, really good Georgia team, and a really, really, really well-coached Georgia team as well. Just so impressed watching the video, offense, defense, and special teams. Super talented, but super well-coached as well. So be a big challenge for us, but our guys are excited. Hope our fans are as well. I know there was a lot of people that wanted this to be a night game. Frankly, no one cares. It's a noon game. So we set the standard for what Williams-Brice Stadium should be like against Georgia State. So we're not going to all of a sudden be less than that on Saturday at noon because we're disappointed it's not a night game. Got a great opportunity for our fan base to show the entire country on national television what Williams-Brice Stadium and a game day at South Carolina is like. And it should be, to me, even better than what it was for the Georgia State game. So if you need more time to tailgate, need more time to get ready, wake up earlier, all right? So you can start preparing at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever time the lot's open over there. But we need that place to be absolutely rocking on Saturday at 12 noon. ESPN's, I think, going to push back the start of the game a few minutes because I think they want to showcase 2001 and what our pregame atmosphere is like. So that'll be a great opportunity from a recruiting standpoint to show people as well. And the opponent, this will be the first time that Georgia has played an true away game this year as well. And we need to make it really, really difficult and uncomfortable for them when they're out there, unless somebody on Georgia's current team was here in 2018. They haven't faced a packed Williams-Brice because they were over here last in 2020 during the COVID year. So we need to make sure that's an asset for us. Arkansas was a great environment last Saturday at 11 a.m. Central, so sure as hell we can make a noon start really, really intense and awesome out there on Saturday afternoon, which is what it needs to be as well. And if you follow recruiting at all here at Carolina, you know how important this weekend is from a recruiting standpoint and the fantastic young men that we're going to have on campus. So we got to do our part as a football team, coaches and players, and we're really working hard to do that. But we need our fan base to do their part as well on Saturday. And knowing what I know about Gamecock Nation, I have no doubt that we will. So with that, take any questions. Shocking. Really?
Hey, Shane, a couple for you. Also with injuries, Rush and Joyner, how are they?
They're fine. Both practiced today. Both look good today. Rush, I guess, fell on his back a little bit. That's when he got hurt on the same play as Mo, and was fine. No issues. Practiced Sunday, as a matter of fact. And then same thing with DK. I don't know if he's been quite 100% the first two games, David, but he looked great out there today, and excited for him and excited as he continues to get healthier and as this season goes on.
Also, Austin Stogner, and you had him in Oklahoma too. He laid out the last block on the first two touchdowns you guys have. How elite of a blocker is he as compared to other guys that you've seen at that position?
Yeah, I think he's really good. He's a tough kid, first and foremost, is what you got to be. It's something that he really worked on at Oklahoma. And the thing that I think helped him, too, was in high school, he was asked to – I remember going to watch when we were recruiting him at Oklahoma. I went and watched one of his practices in Dallas, and I remember telling some of our coaches after I watched him practice, just how physical he was. I mean, he would put his hand in the ground and block defensive ends. He's a high-effort, competitive guy. It's not always easy. People think, when you're a tight end and you're 6'6", 250, that it's easy, but a lot of times it's not because you've got to get leverage on defensive ends and that are moving and things like that. But he's competitive, he's tough, and works at it as well. It was great to see that, the long pass that he was blocking on downfield, and then the little counter play we ran to Marshawn for a touchdown when he kind of blocked the guy with his back. But it was just great effort for sure.
Shane, you talked after the game, obviously, about needing to run the ball a little bit better schematically and personnel-wise. What can you guys as coaches do to try to get some more consistency out of that run game?
I would say a few things. One, I think we also need to look at I think I said this on Sunday night, when we called runs on first and second down in the open field, we averaged close to 4 or 5 yards a pop, if I'm not mistaken. Now, those stats got skewed because we had a 3rd and 1, a 4th and 1, a 4th and whatever on the goal line, 3rd and whatever on the goal line, where you're not going to have long runs. So I feel better about our run game coming out of the game last Saturday against Arkansas, 1. 2, just continuing. Every week's different. How Arkansas lined up to play us defensively is different than what Georgia State did, and it's different than what we expect to see from Georgia this Saturday. So every week is different schematically what the teams are playing, but we need to be able to line up and run our best runs no matter what defense they're lined up in, and we're continuing to work to do that. To me, I want to be when I interviewed for this job, I told Ray Tanner and Chance Miller, to me, we want to be able to run the ball, and when I say balanced on offense, I want to be an offense that has the ability to run it and the ability to throw it. And I'd be an idiot to sit up here and tell you that we're going to run the ball 60 times a game. We got an NFL quarterback and NFL receivers and NFL tight ends. So every week we're trying to do what gives us the best opportunity to be successful. But to me, we've got to be able to, when we want to run the football, run the ball. We got signs in this building about how we win the football games, and running the ball and stopping the run is is one of them. And each week it's different how we do that. But at the end of the day, we've just got to, figure out what we do well and be able to run those no matter what defense they're in, and just be efficient with it as well, whether we run it 15 times or whether we run it 55 times, being efficient when we do run the football. And also being able to win those battles. We want to call runs. So when we call runs, as the offensive tackle, the offensive guard, the center, the running back, the receivers, the tight ends, you got to win your one-on-one battles as well. It's easy to say run the ball. Well, we gotta be great competitors and win those battles as well. Same thing on defense when it comes to stopping the run, which we didn't do last week either.
Coaches preach it constantly about focusing on yourself in a game week. You're taking on the number one team in the nation. It's a little bit harder to do, at least from outside noise as well. But also, you have the benefit of college football showing you that anybody can beat anybody last weekend. Are you using that? How, beneficial is it to be coming off of that week to kind of help encourage your guys and build that belief?
I'd say our guys have a lot of belief. I told our staff on Sunday, I don't want to hear one person talking about anybody can beat anybody on Sunday. I don't want to hear one person talking about shocking the world. I don't want to hear one person talking about we just got to beat them. We just got to be better than them one Saturday. We don't have to be better than them all 12. And then as soon as I walk out of as soon as I walk out of the staff meeting, I got text messages on my phone from family members essentially telling me the same thing. So I'm like, Jesus, But there's great belief in our program. I don't have to rally them to make them believe. They believe. They have confidence. They should. We're a really good SEC football team, and we got really good SEC football players. That a lot of players on this team that Georgia wanted on their team. And there's players on Georgia's team that we wanted on this team as well. So to answer your question, we have belief every single week. I don't have to sit in here and convince these guys that we can win the football game. We got a bunch of competitive dudes on this football team that can't wait to go compete on Saturday.
You mentioned on Sunday night that y'all didn't tackle well enough. What was y'all's number for missed tackles? What number is acceptable? And is that something y'all had to stress this week, or is that just something that they know?
Yeah, way too many missed tackles last week, which that's disappointing because I think I said it on the teleconference. We'd been a pretty good tackling team in practice and in games as well. Really had been. And even going back to games last year, I can think of one against it was either Clemson or Auburn late. We missed one over there on their sideline. At defensive back and let a explosive run pop out of there over there on their sideline late in the year. But even last year, missed tackles that really stand out, there weren't a ton. So that was surprising. Probably a better question for Clayton tomorrow. I'll let you grill him on that, as far as what he wants from a defensive standpoint. But one's way too many for me. And we emphasize it. We tackle in practice on Tuesdays and in certain periods. And there's not a lot of teams in the country, I think, that do that. And that's for the speed of the game, and that's to make sure we're in good position and whatnot. We do tackling drills on defense as well. So give Arkansas some credit. It's not easy to get those running backs and that quarterback down. But at the same time, there were some poor fundamental things in there, too, where we're coming in there and ducking heads and things like that.
Hey, Coach. With Sherrod stepping into a starting role this week, what have you seen from him over the past few months, both, mentally and physically recovering from 2 years of these season-ending injuries?
Yeah.
And, has he been a resource for, Mo and for Jordan as they're kind of going through it now, too?
Yeah, and your Eagles are 1-0. Yep. I think Sherrod's been great. You go back to last year, he got hurt in this Georgia game last year, and same thing, hurt for him last season over in Athens that night early in the game when he got hurt as well. But he worked hard to come back. That's not easy to do mentally when you're coming back from multiple injuries on that knee. But he overcame a lot mentally. Proud of him because, he was working his way back. And in the meantime, Mo and Brad continued to elevate their games as well. So he probably wasn't in the role that he exactly wanted to be early in the season, but just continued to work and got better. It was good to see him I should say good. I hated to see Mo get hurt, but it was good that now Sherrod was able to get out there and run around and play a lot of plays last Saturday, and he absolutely will be a resource for those guys. They'll help each other, and we all will. When I talked to Jordan and Mo on the phone late Sunday night after they found out the results of the test, so we told them we all got your back and we're all here to help you. But certainly those guys that have been in that position before can really help them.
Shane, you mentioned a big recruiting weekend this weekend for you guys. Just number one, how do you feel like you are in recruiting right now with the way the class stands, and how big can a performance or an atmosphere or whatever go this weekend for you in this recruiting base?
Yeah, no, I love where we are right now from a recruiting standpoint with the class of 2023 guys, and then where we are with the class of 2024 guys. Now, there's a long time till the 2023 class signs and a long time till the 2024 class signs, but I think we're in a great position with a lot of them. We've worked really, really hard at it, going back to when I first got hired on recruiting these future classes as well and laying the foundation. And as you guys know, it is a line of scrimmage league in this conference, and our recruiting class right now, I think, emphasizes that. Keeping the best players in South Carolina at home has been a priority, and knock on wood, we're doing a good job of that in this year's class and next year as well. Certainly an amazing atmosphere on Saturday will help. And then obviously we need to coach well and play well. That'll really help as well. And working really hard to do that. And then give these kids that we're recruiting credit. They've really connected with each other and bonded with each other and helping recruit. They're recruiting each other right now.
Shane, I just wanted to start with, did you live in the same neighborhood as Kirby when you were there? Right? Just keeping the theme of the last couple of weeks.
Nah, Kirby was making more money than me, so he was living in Athens. We were all out in the suburbs, me and out in Watkinsville, me and Sam. But y'all should do a story on the neighborhood that we all lived in, because I would say that pretty much every assistant coach that's probably ever coached at Georgia has lived in that one neighborhood. So I lived in there with Jim Chaney, who was our offensive coordinator, Sam Pittman, Glenn Schumann, their defensive coordinator's in there right now. Tracy Rocker was living in there. Jeremy Pruitt was living across the street from me as they were transitioning. Mike Bobo lived in that neighborhood when he was over there. Brian Schottenheimer lived in that neighborhood when he was on the staff. I don't even know who's in there right now, but there's a bunch of them for sure. But no, Kirby was in the high end part of Athens.
And just as far as Jordan and Mo, they will need surgery, right? Has that been scheduled yet? And how have the defensive guys? Those injuries like that can be pretty devastating mentally for guys. How have the guys been the last couple of days? The players who are practicing, have they kind of, moved forward with this and made peace with the idea that they won't be back?
Yes, I believe the plan right now is to have surgery as of yesterday when I was talking to Clint Haggard and about the prognosis going forward. I don't think that'll be any time in the immediate future, probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, I guess, is when those surgeries will take place. And what was the second part?
Just the guys practicing, the defensive guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I'd be sitting here lying to you and say that it was easy and then it's just carry on. We just lost two really critical players on our defense. And that's tough to overcome. There's no doubt about it. It's the heart of your defense right there. And our guys hurt for them, but it's the next man up mentality, and we all have to be better. And the best way that those guys and we can honor and play for Mo and Jordan is to go play well this week. And, it's part of it and hate it, but we got to no one's sitting around feeling sorry for us right now. So I think those guys have rallied together. And like I said, we've got some fantastic players and leaders, Zach Pickens and Brad Johnson and those guys of the world that are continuing to lead this defense in their absence as well. Rob Sale, the old offensive line coach at Georgia, lived in that neighborhood. Chris Wilson lived in the house that I lived in. Will Friend lived in the house that I eventually bought. So it's a heck of a story. Roanoke, Mike Griffith, y'all. It's the name of the neighborhood in Watkinsville, man.
Shane, keeping you on the walk down memory lane, as you look back on the time you spent under Kirby, I know there were some talented players when you guys got there, but what were some of the things you gleaned from him about building a program, instilling a culture from the ground up?
Yeah, Kirby Smart made me a better football coach. I was a really, really beneficial 2 years to be with him, you know, and him coming, it was a great opportunity for me to, one, coach at a place like Georgia, live in a city like Athens, but to come in and see the whole Nick Saban, Alabama, the process and all that, but see it implemented from day one, where Kirby's taken over a program. I came in there at the end of December, right when he first got hired, after we won our bowl game at Virginia Tech, and then to be able to see everything implemented in year one. And, you know, that year was not easy. I mean, we lost to Vanderbilt at home. We lost to Georgia Tech at home. Struggled to beat Nicholls State early in the season at home. But then to see how just recruiting-wise and continuing to build that program to where now in year two we went and won the Rose Bowl and played for the national championship, and seeing how he handled coaches, seeing how he handled the day-to-day stuff, the recruiting part of it, practice. I mean, there's a lot of things that we do here that are directly from things that I took from my time at Georgia. And there's things that we don't do. I mean, we do a lot of things differently as well. But when you talk about all the places that I've been as a coach and coaches that I've taken things from, as far as this organization and how we try and structure stuff, a lot of it, you know, came from my time with Kirby, and certainly really appreciative of that opportunity that he gave me and everything that I learned from him.
You mentioned, obviously, you can't run the ball 60 times in a game, but also Chill's trying to run. How do you kind of go
Didn't say we couldn't. I just said that we may not. I mean, if we could get out there and find a way to run the ball 60 times Saturday, that would mean things are really going well for us if we could do that. But
maybe you don't want to. How do you go about trying to find that identity and maybe strike that balance, especially when you play a game against a team that their identity is already pretty established in Arkansas last week and Georgia this week?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we can sit here and say we want to run the ball. Well, I think Georgia was number one in the nation last year in stopping the run. Or if they weren't number one, they were number two, because the other team was Alabama. So it's no secret that the two teams that played for the national championship are the two best teams in the nation last year at stopping the run. And that's pretty consistent every single year. If you look at run defense, there's the best teams in the nation are going to be up there. So these guys aren't going to be easy to run the football on. We've got to really work hard as coaches to come up with a plan to be able to run the ball, because it's going to be a long day Saturday if we're not able to run the ball a little bit against these guys. That's just a fact. And so that's the challenge for us is finding that balance against a team that prides themselves on stopping the run and do a great job of it as well. But we got really good players on this offense and really good coaches, and confident that we'll put together a plan that allows us to do that as well, and then also be able to stop the run, because frankly, I mean, Georgia's watching our tape from that Arkansas game last Saturday and probably feeling really good about being able to get up and hand the ball to those big running backs that they got over in Athens right now as well, based on what we showed on tape last week against Arkansas. Welcome back.
Thanks. Glad to be back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You coming Saturday? You got a baby shower, bachelor party, anything else you going to, my man?
I'll be there. I
love you, right?
I got one more wedding on the schedule for next year, so hopefully it can be a bye week or something. But it's not mine. But Shane, I guess offensively, I think you guys are averaging like 20 or 30 more yards per game right now. I mean, as I know it's a small sample size, but and close to 100 yards more passing right now. I mean, just where do you feel like this group is offensively from year one through, I guess, 2 games now? And I guess what is it that you take now going forward to build some of that consistency, find maybe some more running holes? I know you mentioned some of it, but I guess what is maybe different about this group right now?
I would say there's a better understanding. A lot of these guys, it's year 2 in the system. So there's a better understanding that they have of what we're asking them to do. There's a better understanding of us. And then, frankly, we got more depth. We've got a really experienced quarterback that continues to get more and more comfortable with what we're doing each week. We've got more experienced running backs. We've got more depth at wide receiver. When you look at what Juice did last week, when you look at what Jalen Brooks did the week before, you look at what AB has done, and then you add Josh Vann and Carry On Joyner and Xavier Legette to that. Then you got Jaheim Bell and Austin Stogner. I mean, we've got more weapons around the guys than what we went into the season with, last year at this time. And for us, it's just continuing to, develop depth and continue to get more and more confident, more and more comfortable with what we're doing as well. And y'all know I love Ben. That was totally a joke, right? I don't need to be on SEC Network like another coach was in this league because he got into it with a reporter last week or something. That was totally a joke. So, all right. Thank you. Yep, y'all brought the A-team in today. When I called you out on the teleconference, I didn't know you'd actually come on Tuesday. So
I wasn't going to. I wasn't sure Ben was going to be. I had to cover for him in case he wasn't here. You mentioned the changes at Georgia. Obviously, they lost 15 guys to the NFL draft. So two-part question. Georgia part is, what are some of the different things that you're seeing from Georgia, I guess, schematically or just their personality-wise? And then secondly, how has Freddie Kitchens influenced the program? That was a guy, he could have gone to Clemson, and he chose to come here instead. And how'd you get him over Dabo and Woody? I mean, those are guys that he played for and coached with.
Yeah. Schematically, all three phases, or are you talking more schematically defensively and all the guys they lost?
In terms of all three phases.
Yeah. Offensively, they bring not much because they bring so many guys back. When you look at last year's tape, offensively and then this year's tape, I mean, it's the same people other than, Zamir and a couple other guys, I guess the Burton at receiver, but it's a lot of the same people. And it's not a huge body of work because they've had 2 blowout wins. So you're guessing a little bit because they haven't had to do a whole lot, honestly, these first 2 weeks. I memean, that Oregon game Oregon turned the ball over, 2 times in the first 3 possessions and was pretty much over after that. And then the Samford game was, 30-0, I think, at halftime. So you're basing on a very small body of work. But offensively, you see them using the tight ends, obviously, with Washington and Bowers and Gilbert, and the way that they roll those 3 guys in there as well. And very multiple. And I don't think they've turned the ball over yet offensively, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's right. No turnovers or fumbles or interceptions. I may be wrong on that. If they have, they haven't done it many. So they're just doing a good job of just being efficient and protecting the football. And then defensively, kind of the same thing. Like, they're very multiple on defense. We know that. They haven't had to show a lot at this point. So, they may come out there on Saturday and it's a lot more multiple than they've been the first 2 games. First 2 games, it's been, I don't want to say simple because it's not simple when you're facing those guys, but really good players, really tough, really physical, and make it really hard to run the ball. And then when you throw it too, it's going to be competitive catches. I mean, they've got size in the secondary and they're really good. So there's not a lot of teams with wide open receivers running down the field. And if you do, they ain't going to be wide open for long because of their closing speed. And then special teams. I mean, I know the emphasis that Kirby puts on that. I was there for 2 years and saw it directly, and that shows as well when you turn on the tape and there's Brock Bowers covering punts, and there's Lad McConkey covering punts, and there's Nolan Smith on the punt pressure team trying to block punts and return punts. I mean, they're really good and a challenge. And then Freddie's been fantastic. You'd have to ask him that question about how we got him, but Freddie's a close friend. Freddie's somebody that I've known since 2004 when we were all in Starkville together on that first coaching staff with Sylvester Kroom, and he's been good, just being able to help me and help the offensive staff. And he's a great personality, him to have in this building as well. And he's been a good resource, even for a lot of our players too. The fact that he's been in the NFL for so long and has coached some high-profile players, being able to help our guys and just being able to pull an offensive lineman aside or pull a tight end aside or pull a receiver aside or a defensive back or whoever and just kind of talk to him about things. It's good to have another set of eyes that can help me and the other coaches with maybe things that we miss.
Hey, Coach, you talk about Oregon turning the ball over, I think, twice in the first 3 possessions. Does it almost feel like you almost have to play near flawless football against a defense like Georgia? And I guess the second part of that question, does it feel like you maybe have to throw sort of the proverbial kitchen sink at a defense like Georgia?
No, because I think to the second question first, I think if you do that, you can end up, hurting yourself a little bit too. I mean, we want to continue to condense what we do offensively and just make sure that we're sound. Okay, however number of plays we have, we know as an offense how we're going to be able to block it and run routes against these multiple looks that we're going to get, as opposed to having too many schemes that you can't rep it all against all the stuff that you're going to see from them. So you just really just try and dive in and have an idea of what you're going to expect, but knowing how multiple they are, whatever they did on third down against Oregon and Samford, you're probably going to see a completely new third down package from them for us, So it's just working on ourselves and being good. And I'm sorry, what was the first part? I think we gotta play smart football and efficient, and that's one thing that we haven't done the first 2 weeks. We've done some really good things offensively the first two games, but we've had way too many negative plays. We've had way too many drops. We've had way too many turnovers. When you talk about negative things on offense, we've had way too many of those the last two games. And then you could say the same thing defensively the last game with mental errors and missed tackles. So we've got to have a lot more winning reps, winning plays, if you will, than what we've had the last two weeks as well. And just have those winning plays and just try and stack one on top of another and see where we are at the end of the day.
Hey, Shane, you mentioned that you do tackling drills on Tuesday. Well, because you're so banged up and your depth issues, are you able to go as hard as business as usual? And also, how's Nick doing? I mean, after the game he had, the extensive snaps as a true freshman and his physical style of play, how's he bouncing back physically?
Yeah, good question on the first part. No, we have to be smart with as beat up as we are on defense. It wouldn't be very smart to go out there and just get too crazy today. So, for example, the one period, we did everything that we normally do on a Tuesday. It was the exact same Tuesday practice this morning that we had last week against Arkansas as far as how we structured it. But what we did is when we did the period that we normally do live tackling reps in, we did more plays today, but one less tackling play, if that makes sense. So normally we'd have 4 plays or really 8 in that period where we tackled to the ground. Today we had 6, but we did more plays where we call it thud, where it's full speed. We just don't take guys to the ground, but it's still a physical period. So yes, we got to be smart with our players, but I know how physical Georgia plays. We can't just sit here and say, okay, we're going to all of a sudden just turn it on Saturday and flip the switch and play physical. You got to practice that way, and you got to prepare that way. So we're doing that the best that we can. And Nick, I think, has been good. Nick's a smart guy, as he's shown the last 2 weeks. The moment's not too big for him. First game, home opener, a lot of distractions out there in the stadium. He wasn't the starter, but then he got thrown in there early in the game, played great. Well, last week was different for him because he knew going into the week he's going to be the starter, and he's going on the road. He's away from Columbia. I don't know if I'm guessing he had. Last week may have been his first time he's ever flown on a plane. I don't know. But there was a lot of new last week, and he handled it great. The moment wasn't too big for him. Well, he's got another great challenge this week as well. But Nick prepares the right way and has fun playing and competing, and certainly really proud of him and the start that he's had so far.
Hey, Shane, hope you're well. I know DeCarrion Joyner's been banged up a little bit, but when he's healthy, what is his role in the offense, and what does he do for the team as a whole with that personality he's got?
He's a great leader, first and foremost. I love DeCarrion Joyner, and he's everything that's right, about Carolina football. And he's a hell of a football player, too. And he's really good on us for special teams and offense and multiple positions. It's not like we have forgotten what he did in the bowl game. He showed he can play quarterback in that bowl game at a high level. He wasn't healthy in that first game, and he was more healthier last Saturday against Arkansas. So when he is healthy, he's a fantastic leader. He's a really good football player that's a valuable member of all of our special teams, and then a valuable member of our offense, whether it's wide receiver, whether it's quarterback, whatever. He's shown that he can do that, and we need to continue to find ways to keep him involved, have him involved.
What are your takeaways from how Jaheim was used in the first couple of games?
I think good. I mean, we tried to get the ball to him a lot of different ways against Georgia State, and we did. Handing the ball to him and throwing the ball to him and trying to get it to him in different ways, and did the same thing against Arkansas too. I mean, I think it was the next to last play of the game, or one of those plays. I mean, we ran deep balls down the field, and we're trying to get the ball to him on a deep ball down the field, and I think Spencer got sacked on that play or whatnot. But I mean, he's always a part of our plan. But we've got more players on offense, so I mean, there's going to be a game Saturday night where. Or there's going to be a Saturday where Jaheim catches 10 balls and Jalen Brooks catches 10 balls, and then I come in here on Tuesday and you guys are asking me why Juice Wells and Austin Stogner didn't get the ball more. And then there's going to be a Saturday where Marshawn Lloyd and Juju rush for 100 yards apiece, and then I'm going to come in here and y'all are going to want to know what happened to the passing game and why AB's not more involved along with Xavier Leggett. It's a good problem to have. We got a bunch of really good players on offense, and we're trying to get them all involved, but at the end of the day, we're trying to do what gives us the best chance to be successful. And it's not like when we call a play, Spencer doesn't look at that wristband and read the play, and then in parentheses it says throw to Jaheim or throw to AB. I mean, we read it out, and if the play may go to Jaheim, the play may go to AB, it may go to Van, whoever. It's just kind of how the defense plays it. And don't get me wrong, there are plays too where we are trying to get the ball to certain people. We had a couple plays specifically for Josh Van last week that we put in, but we have options on every play, and that's a good thing to have. And that's one thing Georgia does a great job of. I think Stetson threw the ball to like 11 different receivers or something in the last game. We've got to continue to spread the ball around where we're not always going to just one guy, if that makes sense. All right, thank you all for coming out. Have a great week. You going back today, Mike? Thanks for coming over.
Okay, that's it from Coach Beamer. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We have hit 2 o'clock. We're going to get after it. Hey, content bleeding out the eyeballs. As always, stay tuned to everything. Of course, podcast will drop tomorrow, and the Daily Crow every single day this week, noon to 2. Guys, again, appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.